ungainly, and her mother would never let her forget it. "Right, now get this place tidied up a bit," her mother barked once the potatoes were safely hanging above the flames. Pearl nodded, but as she looked about the tiny room, she didn't quite know where to start. Her brothers and sisters sat lethargically on the bare floor, propped up against the walls, scratching at the lice in their hair, looking pale and wan. Pearl gave them an affectionate smile as she lifted a broom to start sweeping the floor. But then her mother remembered something and started. "Oh, Lordy," she said fearfully. "I just remembered it's rent day. You'll have to get 'em all out of the way till the rent man's been and gone. I can't pay him, so we'll have to pretend no one's home. That won't work if he hears any of this lot. Go on, away with you, and pull the curtains too afore you go." "But Ma, it's freezing out there. Davy and Maggie have got a hacking cough already, and they ain't got any shoes," Pearl said worriedly, as she stared towards the grimy window. "Wrap a bit of that sacking about their feet," Molly ordered, pointing to the old sack that had held the last of the potatoes. "But where can I take 'em in this weather?" Molly's face hardened. "Can't you think of anything for yourself? Take 'em uptown and let 'em look in the shop windows. They'll be all decked out for Christmas and they'll like that. Now get a move on, and less of your back chat, or you'll be feeling me foot up your arse." Pearl quickly wrapped the children in anything she could lay her hands on, including tying some torn sacking around their feet. Then she herded them towards the door. There was no sign of her other sister, Eliza. Just a year younger than Pearl, her sister was prone to daydreams and spent much of her time wandering around the streets. It meant that Pearl usually ended up doing most of the work in the house, but even so, Pearl loved her dearly and worried about her when she was gone. For though Pearl was pretty, Eliza was turning into a true beauty, with her oval face, bright gold hair and green eyes. And Pearl knew there were unscrupulous people in Whitechapel who would love to take advantage of her beauty. Now Pearl just hoped she didn't turn up at the house at the same time as the rent man, otherwise her mother would give her a clout round the ear. Once they were outside, Pearl quickly shepherded her siblings through the twisting alleys that led to the docks, telling them encouragingly, "We'll take a look at the ships first, shall we? You'll like that." None of her siblings looked very enthusiastic, and Pearl couldn't blame them. But she fixed a smile on her face and urged them along until they came eventually to the docks, where ships of all shapes and sizes were bobbing at anchor. Some were being unloaded of their cargo by burly seamen, while others were being loaded as the sailors nimbly leapt over the ropes with barrels on their shoulders. There were also a number of ladies with pock-marked, painted faces, wearing low-cut dresses, standing against the walls, hoping to entice the seamen who had just returned from long journeys to part with some of their hard-earned wages. 3-year-old Davy was whimpering with the cold by then, so, after a time, Pearl led them towards the city centre. "I's angry, Pearl," 9-year-old Amy told her sister gravely. Pearl squeezed her hand reassuringly. "Never mind, pet. Mr. Grimley will have been and gone soon, and then we can go home and get you all some dinner," she said, trying to ignore her own rumbling stomach. Mr. Grimley was the rent man, and much dreaded by his tenants. As Lil, the woman who lived on the floor above them, had once commented to Molly, "I reckon that man has got a swinging brick for hearts. He chucked the Freemans out on the bloody street in the snow last year because they couldn't pay the rent. But how were they supposed to when Bill Freeman had broken his leg unpacking cargo at the docks? The poor sods promised him they'd catch up just as soon as ever Bill got back to work. But he wouldn't have a bar of it, and out they went, with her ready to drop her babby any minute, and another 2 little uns not even out of bindings." Pearl shuddered as she remembered and prayed the same fate would not befall their family. Soon they came to a main road, and as they strolled along, the children gazed in awe at the smartly dressed people walking to and fro. The women walked